Thank you guys for coming too. So we, this is like the first one that we're doing. We had a lot of RSVPs. We didn't charge for the event, so we kind of knew when it's free. Some, as you know, not everyone's going to show up. People like the idea, of coming out here, and the agenda is to target small business owners. We want to, touch on funding options, ways to build business credit apart from personal credit, throw in some personal credit tactics that are in there. Alex is going to touch on, digital marketing components, especially something that he just launched for us right now that's allowing us to get Facebook leads for less than $1, keeping our customer acquisition cost for right around $10. Per customer, and our customer value on our credit per side is about $1,000 on the value side. So it's a very good return on that. Alex will touch on Facebook stuff, and then we're bringing in a CPA as well to touch on S corps and all that kind of stuff. And she's on the 6th floor actually, and I use her. She's awesome, especially because when I love paying little to nothing at the end of the year and figuring out ways to do that. So she's great at that, and she may pop by or drop off some cards or something like that. So for those that don't know who I am, just, you, Fred, my name is Joe Chavarria. I am the CEO and founder of a company called The Credit Agents. We're on the 3rd floor. We're a credit repair company focusing on consumers and starting to dabble a little bit more on the commercial side, so working more with small business owners, helping them do a combination of both, repairing personal credit and establishing business credit in the EIN number, and then opening up doors for more funding opportunities. We really just wanted to start the series of events. The first event you do, it's the worst, right? It's the hottest, right? It's crammed, or it's a little bit of not what you expected. So we appreciate you guys, working with us on the heat and all that. And it's the first of many to come. And we're excited because we want to just share some of our struggles in building the business, share some of the things that can help the business, like marketing, like funding, like business credit, things like that. And ultimately, if I can, the mistakes and the blood and the water from the mistakes that I made building my business, if I can share that to avoid others from making the same mistakes, then I would, look back and say it wasn't for nothing, right? I was able to help some people, get past that 5-year mark, where historically that's where most businesses don't make it. It's past 5 years. Talk about today is just the basic steps to building business credit. So we're going to touch on that, and then I'll close us out with funding. Just the breakdown for business owners and what you need to do to qualify for that. So the first step to building business credit is really the foundation. So with the foundation, there's a couple components to that. I hope I spelled that right. But foundation, there's a couple components to that, which some of you here may already have that. So a couple components would be like the EIN number, the business bank account, the address. So you have to have a business address. So with business addresses, obviously with the storefront, that's already a business address. If you're a solopreneur, having some type of non-home address, so that could be like a Regis type, a virtual office, a WeWork. Typically, they'll provide you with registered, known business addresses. And sometimes you can, like when I started off, I worked completely remotely or from home. But, and I needed to get a business address, start building business credit. I just went to, I think it was Regis at that time.
And that can't be like a mailbox as well.
Sometimes it's hit or miss. I use, with like a PO box or like a FedEx, right, box, something that doesn't give you the PO box number, like doesn't say PO box, blah, blah, blah. Something that says like 123 Main Street, but it's an actual PO box. Mm-hmm. It's hit or miss. And the reason why I say it's hit or miss is when you submit an application for credit, the lenders, I forget the name of the system that they use, but the system they use to quickly verify the application to make sure like the information is legit, the system will automatically detect, is it a home address, a PO box, a business address. If it's anything other than a business address, you're not completely denied, but it has been known to stop a lot of applications in its tracks. From the business lending perspective, they're like, well, okay, because it's not as regulated or not as monitored as personal is on the consumer side. So if they feel like this is going to be fraudulent, it's a shell company or something like that, or like we're just going to stop it, its tracks because we don't want to go too far. So an actual registered business address, a business phone number is Definitely helpful with getting approved for business credit, because sometimes the lender may call to verify that it is a legitimate company. If it's a cell phone, the call gets missed and it's just, you've reached so and so. It's like, okay, I don't know if this is a legitimate company, right? So some great options for business phone numbers. There's a lot of services now, Freedom Voice, Vonage. There's a lot of companies out there where you can get a business phone number, have it forwarded to your cell, even if you're a solopreneur, so you're still taking all the calls. You can set up an auto attendant and things like that. So if someone were to call to check out the business, you can have the auto attendant. I love auto attendants, and it's just like, you reach ABC company, press 1 for sales, 2 for service, 3 for this, and yeah, all those calls can route to your cell. But sometimes they'll just like check to make sure it's a legitimate business. Oh, sounds good. The auto attendant's good. All right, check mark. Okay, this is a legitimate company. So there's services out there. Ring Central's another one. I think those are the top 2. Ring Central, Grasshopper, I think is another one. Freedom Voice. You can get like a business phone number for like $20-$30 a month. Set up auto attendant, and everything can forward to your cell phone. Then you want to get your business phone number registered with 411. Even though it's kind of outdated, businesses still do that. I mean, lenders still do that. They still check, the 411 records to make sure that the information, the phone number, all matches up. Keep in mind when you're applying for a business loan or credit, they're looking for reasons to not give money. Like they're looking for anything that would avoid any kind of risk, right? So they're looking for all of that. So you want to make sure that all the records match up. So like your 411 listing should have the business phone number, should have the business address, should have the company name. That should probably go up here. Okay, all of that should match up.
401 on the website or?
Yeah, you can actually do it online now. 401.com and register the business phone number. It's free. You can register it online. It takes about 2 to 3 weeks for it to like fully be registered, but you can actually do that online. Put 401.com up here. Okay, and then and make sure everything on the state level, like even your licenses, if you have like a license for your business or it's required, make sure everything matches up with state records. So make sure make sure all this information is up to date and accurate at the Secretary of State of Texas website. Make sure everything matches up, okay? And make sure that if you require a license, everything is up to date on that. When you start getting into like the bigger funding options, if you need like an SBA loan or a large line of credit that's going to require some documentation, they'll start to ask for like proof of your license to make sure that you're operating legitimate and things like that. So that way you don't get shut down and then you're off with the money and they lose the money, right? So they'll start to do that.
And if I have like a Nevada LLC for privacy purposes, and I have a business here in Houston, would I want to use my Houston address or my business address?
As long as it's a registered business address,
Okay.
doesn't really matter. Doesn't matter.
Yeah, so I was going to ask about that. For example, we use a registered agent.
Yeah.
Our information doesn't show up anywhere on the registration page. You guys call registered agent. Does that need to be the address that we're using for the business, or can they be different? Because obviously registered agents have their own address. Right,
exactly. So like let's just, for simple scenarios, you're applying for let's say a credit line. The address needs to be the address that's associated with the EIN number, what's registered at the state, all that needs to match up.
Okay.
So on your state certificate, is it the registered address as the business address, or is it like wherever
it's got the physical address of the business, but then it also has the registered agent.
Okay, as long as it's got the physical one, right, and you're using the physical one, right, that's really what matters. So this is like the first part, be registered, something registered to the state, make sure it's got the business phone number. Again, keep in mind, these lenders are looking for reasons to deny the application. Exactly. So once we've done these components here, then step 2 is to get your DUNS number, okay? And DUNS number is basically your credit report for Dun & Bradstreet, okay? The reason why you need to get your DUNS number is because once we come over here to step 3, a lot of the vendor trade lines we'll be applying for, they're going to require a DUNS number. Okay, so basically before we start applying for credit, we got to stop by Dun & Bradstreet and get the DUNS number. And you can do it online. I think you just go to dnb.com, and I think that's you just Google Dun & Bradstreet or DNB, just Google it, and then you'll see you'll take you to the website. It'll say like you can verify your DUNS number, see if you have one already. If you don't, then you can just go ahead and apply for one right then and there. It's free.
The DUNS number is just for your record or the credit report, or
Exactly. It's for Dun & Bradstreet. So which is a business credit bureau. So let me kind of back up a little bit and clarify. On the personal credit side, you have Equifax, Experian, TransUnion is the three main. You have some other ones like LexisNexis and Novice. Those are like the hidden credit bureaus, but most lenders are using one of the major three, right? Equifax, Experian, and TransUnion. On business credit, they're looking at Dun & Bradstreet, which is the main player in the business credit reporting world. Corporate Experian, and then business Equifax. But the number one, like what most lenders use to base a decision on, is Dun & Bradstreet. Okay, so to be like fully registered on Dun & Bradstreet and start getting trade lines to report to your Dun & Bradstreet credit report, you have to get a DUNS number. Okay.
Do they automatically issue that, or
Yes.
is that okay? So you may already have one, and not
You could have one. You could, so that's a good point. So what could happen is, if you're sitting around for a while, and you haven't done this, and you've been in business for, let's just say 3, 4, 5 years, Dun & Bradstreet, which they're nothing more than a data hoarding center, right? They're just hoarding and collecting data. Okay, so if there's no DUNS number yet, like you didn't apply for one, don't be surprised if they just made one for you and they signed it.
Okay.
If that happens and you go and you search, the search is easy. You plug in just your business address, business name, and it'll tell you if there is a DUNS number associated with your account. If there is, then I think they'll give you an option to claim it, and then you can update the information online if it's inaccurate. If no record has found, then that means nothing was ever created for you by default. Then it'll give you the option to go ahead and apply for the DUNS number. Probably 2 or 3 pages, very simple information. You just fill out the company address. You fill out the owners, right? How many shares does the owner have, or what percentage of equity does the owner have, and then the owner's information. And then you create an online account, and boom, they say about 30 days you'll have your DUNS number. I have some businesses right now that they're getting their DUNS number in about 2 weeks, right? So you need that, okay? And there's some other numbers, like with Experian and Equifax, which if you email me, I can give you the links to check. If you have, it's a similar number, but they call it something else. But I can send you the links if you want, so you can check to see if you have anything. With Experian, it'll tell you if you have any trade lines already. Like if there's anything that's being reported to your Experian credit report, Dun & Bradstreet would do the same thing. But the most important thing is you get your DUNS number. Like I said, it could take about 30 days to get the DUNS number. But once you have your DUNS number, then we can go and do some vendor credit. These are going to be like your net 15, your net 30s, your net 60s. These are going to be vendor accounts that you can purchase equipment from, or supplies from, or services from. And when you buy from them, they'll send you an invoice due 15, 30, 60 days later. Those payments get reported to your business credit report. So I'll give you an example of one popular vendor is Quill.com. So Quill.com is an office supply company. And this is actually one of the first vendors that I did business with to build our company's credit report. And at the same time, being we're in an office suite, office supplies are things that we need on demand. Before Quill, I was doing everything the hard way. I'd go to Staples or Office Depot, buy everything up front, and then get to the office like, oh no, we also need this or that. It was a waste of my time. My time's best suited growing the business, not going out and getting office supplies. So when I found Quill, not only did they report to your Dun & Bradstreet credit report, but you can do everything online. You can place your order. They'll ship it to your office within like 1 to 2 days, like Amazon or sooner. And then they report all your payments to your credit report. To get approved for Quill, all you need is your DUNS number, your EIN number, and then a minimum opening order of $50. That's it. And they'll approve you for a vendor account, or they'll approve you for a credit line on Quill. It's not a credit card, it's just a credit line on their website. And the minimum approval is usually 500. They'll go up to about 2,000. Sometimes they have no limit approvals. We have a no limit approval, right? So there's no credit line on, or no limit on ours. And so, but that's it. Once you get approved, they will report the payments. They report only to Dun & Bradstreet. They don't report to all three business bureaus, but just DMB, which is fine because again, this is the most important. This is the most popular. Yes. Your question. Okay. So so that's one vendor. So there's a couple of others. There's like Granger. There is Upline, or I'm sorry, Uline. This is like Granger. Uline's like a package supplies company, boxing and things like that. So we have access to about 20 different vendors. Even like a t-shirt company as well. You can buy your t-shirts, you know, and get your logo printed, and you pay 50% up front, and then you pay 50% once it's been completed. They report that payment to your business credit report.
I have a question.
Yeah.
So on personal credit, it's looked down by the credit bureaus when you go open 30 new credit lines.
Exactly. So like on the personal credit side, each inquiry accounts for roughly 10% of your score, okay? So the more credit-seeking inquiries you have over a short period of time, the more risky you appear to other lenders that are out there.
Yeah.
I'll give you an example. I had, was helping someone, a startup company, get approved for funding, okay? Didn't have time to build business credit. He was trying to get the business off the ground. He's like, I need money right away, you know, at least 40 so I can kind of get the stuff going. And the only reason why he got denied, personal credit was great, and usually when you're needing to get some capital for a startup, you need to have really strong personal credit. Personal credit was great. He just had one too many inquiries over the last 6 months. So that he can't have more than 3. He had 4. That 4th one did not result in credit on top of that. And so because there was like one more too many inquiries, they're like, we just can't do it. And so their reasoning is that not only is there underwriting guidelines, they can't have more than 3 inquiries last 6 months, but it's also they look at it as this inquiry did not result in credit. So that bank, let's just say it was Capital One, decided not to take a chance on this person. Why? Capital One's a big bank. Why didn't they take a chance on this person? There's no trade line on the personal credit report. So we're going to follow the same steps and say, no, we're not going to do credit. We're not going to issue credit because of that same reason. So yes, all those credit-seeking inquiries on the personal side, like you said, they're frowned upon, okay? Especially when they don't result in credit. On the business side, doesn't even matter. It doesn't even play a part into your business credit score. All that matters, the main thing that matters, let's put it like that, the main thing that matters when it comes to your business credit score is, do you pay on time? Okay, so let's say Quill's net 30, okay? So let's say day 1 you buy paper, okay? And it's like $100. Then day 7 you get the invoice, and it says it's due in 21, or just say 23 days, because it's net 30, so you got it, 7 days, right? And let's say that on day 15, you pay in full. That's really good in the business space, because paying early does matter. Personal credit doesn't matter.
No.
Doesn't matter if you paid early or not. Just did you pay on the due date? Right. Did you pay on the due date, or did you pay 30 days late, 60, 90?
Yeah.
Let's say you pay on day 30. That's still good too. Not as good, right? You're not like the student that gets extra credit, raising your hand, like, yeah, you're passing, right? You're good. Pay late, yeah, then it starts to really hurt your business credit score.
Is it the same on the vendor? 30 days late, 60 days late, 90 days late?
Exactly.
Or is it like day 1 late, it's already hitting you?
Exactly. So like for their system, is it 30 days past? Is it 60 overdue? That it's similar to the personal credit side, but it's like your day 45, you're still considered more than 30 days past due, right? But that's bad. It's definitely bad on the business side. It's definitely worse on personal credit side. It takes a lot longer to bounce back from that. Not as long on the business side, but it does hurt you. Yes.
Okay. So what happens if your business is new and obviously your business doesn't have a credit and none of those companies wants to give you credit because you have
Quill will.
history?
Quill will. Remember, Quill, all you need is a DUNS number, which to get a DUNS number, all you need is, you want this information correct. You can get a DUNS number right away, but you probably don't want to get the DUNS number too soon because you're going to transmit the address, the phone number, so you would probably want to have all that done right in the first place, so you don't have to like get the DUNS number, then go back a month later and then update all the information. It's personal preference. Me, I'd rather just submit it right the first time. But like to get Quill, all you need is a DUNS number. To get the DUNS number, you just need your EIN number, business bank account,
What he's
all that
saying
stuff.
is there's going to be companies with higher scrutiny that aren't going to give you credit.
Right.
But go with the easy ones first. You
Yeah.
prove yourself with them, and then you can go after the bigger.
Let's take Amazon corporate credit line, for example. They won't approve you unless you have a business credit score and you have at least 3 trade lines already.
Yeah.
Okay, so you go to, let's say you wanted to get an Amazon corporate line today, they're gonna be like, well, no, you don't have, you're non-existent to us right now.
Yeah.
You can personally guarantee it, we'll consider it, but in the business world, we want to kind of stay away from personal guarantees as much as possible.
And that's what I was going to ask about is, like, for example, Home Depot, they require the personal guarantee.
Right,
And I don't like that.
right,
For the business, is it still possible to build up this and then go back and say, well,
100%, yes.
look at my
Home Depot has different layers of commercial accounts, right?
Got it, okay.
So there's one application that's floating out there that you would only enter your EIN number, right?
See,
That's it.
We didn't get that
We didn't
application.
get that one.
Yeah, they don't advertise it. They don't make it easy to find. Like that's why this whole world we're talking about that you had no idea existed. The people who know this are the Fortune 500 companies that have CFOs, went to school for this stuff. This is all they do. This is all they know. And these big players, Home Depot or Citibank, all these guys, that's who they want to deal with. They want to deal with the higher end, because they know the game. They know they're going to pay. They're going to be doing a lot of volume, right? The smaller guys like us, well, they're not going to like advertise the underwriting guidelines. They're not going to say, hey, here's this commercial account with no personal guarantee, especially for the small guys, because it's like, well, how do I want them to personal guarantee stuff. Maybe not McDonald's, right? Because I know McDonald's, right? Like they're a legitimate corporation. They're going to pay me, right? But the little guy, I don't know them from Adam. I need a personal guarantee.
Yeah.
So they don't tell you that they have these accounts that are available to the general public because, again, the Fortune 500 companies, large corporations have CFOs that already, they know this stuff.
At some point, you can build up enough of your business credit that even if you're a small guy, you can
Exactly.
say, hey, look, I'm a small guy, but my business credit's great.
Exactly.
I want the corporate account.
Right, and that's why I love doing this and teaching this, because I want to level the playing field. I want the small guys to be able to compete and play as the CFOs of these bigger companies do, and teach the game, right? So one thing that you brought up, which is very important, I'm going to kind of tie it in here, is credit scoring. Okay, so on personal credit, your credit score is going to range from 300 to 850 on the Fico spectrum. Okay, on business, let's just take Dun & Bradstreet scoring model, which is called PAYDEX, called the PAYDEX score. PAYDEX is going to range from 0 to 100. Okay, on the personal credit side, let's take FICO again. You have 5 components that make it up: payment history, utilization, length of history, types of credit, new credit. Okay, Dun & Bradstreet, number one thing that drives their score: payment history. That's it. Payment history, frequency, how often you pay on time, when do you pay early. So you want to increase that score. The best way to do it is to not only pay on time, but pay your accounts early.
Is
right?
credit utilization a factor
No.
in business credit?
No.
Okay. So I can have 100 different lines and I don't have to be using them.
Right.
Okay. That's
So from a business from a B2B perspective, let's say I issue you credit. We're both in business. If you're borrowing $1 million from me, but you're paying the bill on time every time, I'm good.
Yeah.
Right? As long as you're paying me, I'm making my interest, I'm making all this stuff, you're paying on time, you're not going anywhere, borrow as much as you want. I care mostly about you're paying on time, and I don't have to chase you down to get the money.
Yeah.
That's what I love, right? On the personal side, there's so many more limitations. It's not like, hey, borrow more, because all you have is this job, right, that you have to support. On the business, sky's the limit, right? What you do with your
Increase
business.
business,
Exactly.
make more money. Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Right. Yes.
Would the credit lines depend on, let's say I'm a small business and I'm ordering $100 on 4 different accounts? Would that affect the amount that these companies would want to lend me because they see, hey, he's a small time player?
Individually, right. So let's say like Quill has a $500 limit on that one account, right, with you. Well, of course, you probably won't be able to go more. It depends on that. But let's say that you take a individual vendor, like, for example, we have no limit with Quill. Our account's no limit, right? We started off with a limit, but then they removed the limit after like 3-4 months. Like, hey, you know what, no limit. So all Quill says, that we order all day long, right? They're just, here it comes, here it comes, here it comes. All they care is when the invoice comes, are you paying on time? That's it. That's all they care about, okay? But yeah, from an individual perspective, there's a cap on it. Yeah, you won't be able to go that far because they put an individual cap on it.
And all of these trade lines you're talking about, these are net 15, net 30, net 60 type. They're not credit. They're not like.
They're not revolving. They're not revolving credit.
Yeah, okay.
That's what we're going to talk about next. How to get to the revolving. Okay. So there's more vendors, right? Shoot me an email if you want, a simple list for more vendors. Okay. So then after.
You guys will set all this up, right? You
We
guys
do
have,
this.
like,
So
a service where you can do all
we
this.
do charge for this to do all that for you, hand holding, do a lot of legwork for you. I personally do a lot of it because for me, when someone says, "Hey, let me do it for you," oh, that goes a long way for me. Yeah, please just do it for me.
Yeah.
So especially because I know the systems and all that, so I'll do it for a lot of my clients.
Okay.
So after vendor credit. Then we go into store credit, okay? And this is when we get into some more revolving accounts, but it's store credit. Before we get into like the cash credit, right, we would start off with some store credit. So to get store credit, we need 3 trade lines first, okay? That would be like the vendor account. So we need like a Quill, maybe a U-line, and maybe a Granger account, right? And we need them to report to the business credit report. So before you start going to store credit, by this point, we would have had you set up like, nav.com, something to monitor your business credit reports. The trade lines are being reported before we go into store credit. So with store credit, this is when we're going to get into the credit lines like with Amazon, Dell, Apple, Home Depot has one. I think this is when Home Depot and Lowe's commercial account comes into play. These companies will do store credit, anywhere between $1,000 up to about $2,500 is normally what I'm seeing on a store credit line. That's a revolving line, right? And so you can charge, you can buy, you got a minimum payment you make. Those report to your business credit reports. This is when you get into that scenario that you're referring to. All of these, again, they're going to say, all right, you don't want to, you want no personal guarantee. Right, like for Amazon wants to see the trade lines, right? They want to see that you have the business score. They want to see that, I think Amazon also wants an opening order. I think theirs is $100. They want to see an opening order over $100 for a corporate account, and then you're approved. Okay, but remember, we can't get to Amazon unless we got the vendor accounts. They're not looking at you if you don't have a score. There's no trade lines. They're not even looking at you. They'll look at for you for like the personal stuff, but we want a business, credit line. Okay. After store credit, then we can get into the cash credit, and these are going to be the revolving credit lines. Like, let's just say a no personal guarantee Discover business card or no personal guarantee Amex. Right. This is when we get into the cash credit, revolving credit lines that are not really necessarily associated with stores. Right. These are Visa, Master, Amexes you can use on the business side. To get here, we need 10 total trade lines.
Oh, wow.
Okay, so that would include like some of the vendors, some of the store credit. We need about 10 total trade lines to start getting approved for some cash credit. Okay.
By the time you get here, you're not even submitting they're not even looking at an individual.
Right. This whole process
Totally the company.
exactly. This whole process that I went through
This is what we're trying
was to avoid the PGs, right?
Yeah.
The personal guarantees, to avoid all of that.
Oh, we're doing
Okay.
everything back.
Yeah, we're doing it super backwards.
Yeah. Just to avoid all of that. It's about a 6 month to 12-month process to establish all that. Yeah.
Yeah, we
So
started before and we're getting declined and we're frustrated, but now we know what? We don't have any trade lines.
Right.
They're not even going to look at it.
right, they have nothing to go off of. So by default, they have to look at the personal credit report.
Yeah.
And I hate that, man.
I
You
hate
know,
that too.
I know most businesses owners do. A lot of them don't have a choice. They have to do it. But and they don't know you could avoid it.
Yeah,
A lot of them don't
Every
know.
time they check your credit.
The inquiry.
Then I get an inquiry
You get
from
an
them
inquiry.
for the business, and I'm going, well, that's not
Right.
fair. I'm getting an inquiry for the business.
And you got to deal with the personal credit reporting as well. A lot of you know, for me, if I have an account, I don't want it to report to my business, my personal credit report. Everything business. You know, got a Chase Inc. credit card, a Capital One, an Amex. Stay away from my personal credit. Okay, I want to keep it separate. I want to look at my personal credit report. I want to go buy a car or you know, a house. I don't want to take my business with me. Like, it's separate. Okay, I pay myself separately from the business. The business is completely separate from me. So if you want to fast track all of this, then let's say you want to get some funding a little bit sooner, then, you know, kind of skip the whole business credit. So whenever I'm coaching a business, I'm like, look, we need to do both, right? If you need funding today, let's see if we can get you funded today, but simultaneously, we need to be building business credit too, because that's a credit profile in its own. So you would have more power to get access to more funding in the future if you have two credit profiles, right? You have a business credit profile and you have your personal credit profile, especially when you get into like an SBA loan one day. If you need to get a $1 million SBA loan or more, you know, you get into the doc scenarios, they're going to look at personal credit, they're going to look at business credit to give you the bigger amounts, and they have a special score called Fico Spss score, which a lot more lenders are starting to gravitate towards, and want to do a lot of funding, because the Fico Spss score is a combination of your business and personal credit score. So to make things simplified for the lender, they have a score model now that combines business and personal. But let's say you need some funding. Okay, so your most popular funding, let's just talk about what I'm lining up a lot for. Let's just take a startup, right? Because a startup would be a great example of a company that would, you know, to go through all of this would take some time for them for startup business. But let's say I have a startup. I'll give you an example of a coffee business, okay, that I helped. And so this coffee company had the foundation, had the EIN number, had you know, had all of that, right? Had all of that, but didn't have business credit established yet. It's not operational yet because a startup basically needs like the coffee grounds and the equipment, the licensing. He needs all of that to go to market. So that's why he's technically stuck until he can line up some capital. Needed about, I think he needed about 30 at the time. So this is how I was able to help him get funding. So we got him 3 credit lines. These are business credit lines. And the way we got these business credit lines, and they equaled up to about $42,000 in credit lines for his company. These are all revolving credit lines. So he kind of went straight to cash credit because he had a minimum of a 680 FICO, no more than 3 inquiries in the last 6 months, and he had at least 1 revolving account on his personal credit report open for 24 months.
No more than you said?
For at least 24 months.
Oh, so you had at least 1.
He had at least 1 revolving account open for 24 months. Less than 50% utilized. And it was at least a 2K limit. Okay. Oh, and no derogs. Okay, so like no collections, nothing. It's perfect. Okay, so when it comes to accelerating this or lining up some credit lines for a business, let's say, okay, I don't have time to build business credit right now, I need some funding right away. One of the most popular and easier ways I can line up some credit for a company is going ahead and leveraging their personal credit report, okay? So as long as there's a 680 FICO, There's no more than 3 inquiries the last 6 months. There's at least 1 revolving account that's been open for 24 months. That's 50% utilized or less, with at least a $2,000 limit and no derogs. We can do about a 5x multiple on the largest credit line. Okay, so in this scenario here, it's a 2,000 credit line. One company, which was Chase, offered a $10,000 business credit line. Well, what's unique about our process too is that we'll even not necessarily shotgun the credit, but we'll leverage that offer with a couple of other relationships. And hey, look, so-and-so's coming in at 10. What can you do? Oh, we'll do another 10. We'll match it, right? Because credit card companies, they're kind of savages like that. Like if they see that someone's getting denied, they don't want to pay them attention. If they see someone's getting approved, they want in. They win on the action as well. That's a good sign for them. So we leveraged that Chase approval with an Amex, and with the Discover, it was 10, a 15, and I think another 12 somewhere in there. So I forget the math is wrong on that, but it came out to about 42. Okay, only looking for 30, got 42 in credit. The business is a startup. All he has is the EIN number, the Secretary of State registration, the LLC, all that stuff. But that allowed him to help get the things he needs to go to market, like the cart, like the coffee grounds, and maybe doing some marketing, getting the website going. So some stuff he can go to market. Before that, can't go to market, or I have to wait. I have to go. It was either this or go borrow money from family, and you know how that is. You want to avoid that, because once you start borrowing money from your family, then they're part of the business in a way, and they influence it. And like, let's say the business doesn't work out, it's an awkward relationship, moving forward. And so, didn't want to go that route. He's like, let's see what I can do here, and it worked, right? So this is basically the fundamentals to building business credit. In the event that there is a need for more funding, which if there's time permits after Alex speaks, I'll touch on some more funding options. This is a credit line program. Okay, this is going unsecured business credit lines, no doc, right? We go up to 150, no doc. Once you need more than 150, then we need to start seeing some docs. P&L statements, bank statements, stuff like that. Okay. But if you need less than 150, depending on how your personal credit, we can leverage that to get some commercial credit lines, with no docs really needed. And it's a one-time payment. There's no recurring fees when it comes to this. If there's any kind of personal credit work that needs to get done, we just throw that in there, because we also broker some relationships with some lenders, and so a lot of times when I line up more funding, they pay us, a little commission for lining that up as well. So our interest is aligned, which is, I want capital for the business, and I want to build business credit, and that's what I want as well. You'll hire me to, or pay me to build out the business credit, but then for the agenda, which would be to line up more capital for the business, right? And so I'm looking more for the relationship. The fee is there to, hire me to show the level of interest and commitment, and so also my time is valued, and I go to work, and and I'm not doing this for nothing, right? So that's my part for now. I want to kind of open it up for some questions just on business credit. I will, if time permits, I'll kind of circle back around and maybe talk about some more funding options. But yeah, any questions on like the building business credit part, anything in general on what we touched on now? Was it good information? Was it
was
yeah,
very
helpful?
good.
Provide
Very
some
good.
clarity?
Helpful.
Good.